let's take a moment to be together, take a moment to be with somebody, to say hi to somebody, to give a hug to somebody. I don't want us to miss this opportunity to do that. So, here's the deal. When the chimes ring, I think it's time to return, to get back to your seats. So let's do it. Let's tell somebody hi, give somebody a hug. So, this morning, as we have been doing all this month, we are talking about our theme for the month, which is trust, trust, trust. And today, I want to talk to us about life and living. As you all know, or may not know, that when people are talking about Jesus and Jesus' life, and even more specifically, when people start to talk about the Bible, the truth is that there's many stories in the Bible talk about Jesus and his encouragement to live life, for us to engage in living. So much so that at the very end, at the very end, the end of the story shows that Jesus even gave his life. This is how the story goes, so that others could live and have life more abundantly. And so, if that is the case, and if we are here to engage in the act of living, then we must trust life. Trust, trust, trust life, and not our own stories about life. That's two different things. Trust life and not our own stories about life. And so Helen Keller says that life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Life is either daring adventure or nothing at all. And so I want to just read something then about life, because I'm talking about the life within us. And I'm reading from Living the Science of Mind, page 114, titled, The Silent One Within Us. Ernest Holmes says, we find this saying in the Upanishads, the silent one, the knower, ever resting in us, may walk, stand, sit, lie down, and not do anything at its sweet will. And in our Bible, it says, I will work, and who shall let it? What are these but statements of the absoluteness of the Supreme as the all-conquering power of the Spirit? And as this all-conquering power of the Spirit finds expression through man, this supreme being is at the center of each one of us. To it we may come for guidance, and from it we may draw both inspiration and power to live, stand, walk, or sit. Every act is an outcome of consciousness. Every movement is within the divine being, and since the divine being is everywhere, it must also be at the center of your own life. It is not only at the center of our own life, it is that center. Hence, to think that it is the very essence of our own being is clear thinking. To know that its being is our being is right knowing. And to declare that its life is our life is to permit its power to flow through us. And so what I am talking about then is that in this call to live, that in order that we live, that we must trust. And as I said, as the reading states, there's something within us that trusts, that knows, that is absolute, that is supreme, the all-knower, that knows when to talk, to stand, to sit, to speak, to listen. And so this is who we are. And so I'm not talking about life outside of us, trust life outside of ourselves, but to trust everything within ourselves. And that life happens through you and not to you. Life happens through you and not to you. I forgot to read the principles. So, the principle then that we are working with today is that we believe in the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. We also believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit. And at the very center of our being then, all that there is contained within us. All that there ever has been, all that there ever will be, all the love, all the joy, all the peace, all the beauty, all that there is contained within us, and then ours is a discovery of it in ourselves and our opening up and availing ourselves to it for its unfoldment in our life. Life, trust life and not our stories. And so we are to create in our lives the opportunity for its unfoldment in our lives. And what I'm talking about is its unfoldment of its divine ideas. See, ours is a teaching of thinking and our thoughts. And it's our ideas that move us from one place to another place, from one situation to another situation. It's our ideas, our divine ideas that tells us to stand, to sit, to talk, to listen, to be quiet. It's the divine ideas within us. And so, in order then for this to happen, for these ideas to flow through us, I'm not talking about old ideas, I'm talking about opening up and becoming available to new ideas that we grasp and grab a hold to a new meaning of life. And I'm not talking about life outside of you, I'm talking about you and your life. That this is who we are. The supreme being in us, that which is absolute, and so that we no longer then find ourselves reacting to life. Because reactions are limited or are limiting, and divine ideas are expansive. Reacting to life, reactions are limited or limiting, and divine ideas open us up. There's a greater expansion then of who we are. Charles Swindoll says that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. And so, we either live our life then based on the thing that we are rooted in. And either we are rooted in the divine ideas of God, or we are deeply rooted in our reactions to life. Ernest Holmes says we are either deeply rooted in our reactions to life. I mean, deep, roots that run deep. It's ideas that you are obsessing over and over and over and over and over again, reactions. And so that's not the place that we want to live life from. So there is then no such thing as a life without challenges. There is no such thing as a life without challenges. I'm talking about trusting life and not our stories. So if we tell ourselves a story that there is, that we're going to get to some place where we won't ever be with challenges, or that we'll ever be without challenges, then we are, in essence, then seeking a life where we're just playing a wishing game. Where I wish this didn't happen, or I wish that didn't happen. I wish she would go. I wish he would stay. I wish they would leave me alone. I wish I had another job. I wish I was married to him. I wish I didn't have to go. I wish this job would go away. I wish a new job would come my way. It's a wishing game. And life, if we are engaged in a way where we have said yes to be in the action of creating joy and happiness in our life, then we won't play this wishing game, reacting to life. So we have to make then a deliberate choice to live, to say that we want joy and happiness in our life. It's a deliberate choice. It's just not something that happens. It's very, very deliberate. So you and I, we have to choose to be happy. It's a choice. And life then is not, in that way then, life is not a wishing well. It's not a wishing well. So I want to make sure I got your attention on this one. Turn to your neighbor, tell your neighbor, life is not a wishing well. It's not a wishing well. One more time. Life is not a wishing well. Life is not a wishing well. It's a hokey dance. Life is not a wishing well. It's a hokey dance. You see, you have to put your whole self into it and take your whole self out of it. You have to put your whole self into it and shake it all about. Do the hokey, turn yourself around. It's not a wishing well. And it requires that we do that. We put our whole self in so that we open up to an expanded idea, so that we open up to the divine ideas of God in us, and that we are trusting life and not our stories. And so, Reverend Michael Beckwith, he says in order for this expanded consciousness to occur, that we have to be aware of the 4 levels of consciousness. That we all live in and out of 4 consciousness. And one is that we live in a space where we think that life happens to me, or we live in a place where we say that life happens by me, or we live in a place where we say that life happens through me, and then the ultimate, we live in a space where life happens as me. 4 stages of consciousness, ways of living. And so when we say that life happens to me, then we are in a space where we think that life happens outside of ourselves. And anything that's outside of us, then we begin to think that it is the determining factor of our life. It is oftentimes filled with this sense of being disenfranchised, where we believe that something outside of us can make us happy. And nothing outside of us can make us happy. Happiness is a choice. You have to deliberately choose to be happy. And so a lot of times then when we are saying that life is happening to me, we are saying then in essence that we feel separate and apart. Separate and apart and are living in stage 2, where we say that life happens by me, we're engaged in causing things to happen in our life, engaged in causing manifestations to happen in our life. It's where we begin to, through our spiritual principles and practices, start to use our mind power. Through our spirituals and principles and practices, we start getting clear about what it is that we desire, and we use our mind power then to bring this higher way of living into our life. And so sometimes then our attention then is set on making something happen. So that's stage 2. Stage 3 is that life happens through me. And life happens through me is where we, in our spiritual work, that it has become so rich that we develop this belief that life is for me. That life is for me, and we start to yield to it, to allow it, to let it. We start to, in stage 3, to surrender to life and all that life is. It is here then where we start to have intelligent conversations with ourselves and with others. We start to have high conversations about what's possible in life. Stage 3, life happens through me. And stage 4, life happens as me. In stage 4, that is where we finally find ourselves in a place where we are one with life, where we are one with all of life, and there's no separation. In this stage, it is God as me. The divine power presence is absolute, the supreme law, love that is everywhere, is expressing in, as, and through me. Now it is me. Wherever I go and wherever I do, God has me, deliberately choosing happiness. When you are in a state where God has me, you are always choosing happiness. So no matter what the job is, no matter what's going on in the situation, no matter what happened last night, no matter what you think is going to happen tomorrow, God as me is always deliberately choosing happiness. You see, life is not a wishing well. It's how you think it is. God put your whole self in to be able to allow the divine power presence of God to express through you. It's the only way. It's the only way. And so, it means then that we're going to have to give up blame and control. When you are living in stage 1 where you say life happens to me, you're doing a lot of blaming and a lot of shame. A lot of blaming others and a lot of blaming of yourself and a lot of shaming yourself for perhaps what you did do or what you didn't do. And you're going to have to let go of control, because you see, in stage 3, when you say that life happens through me, you surrender to it. There's no control. You're not worried about what happens. There's no control to it. You've given up control, knowing that life will unfold, and the divine power presence in you, that it is supreme and it is absolute. There's a great power available for you to use to choose happiness. See, Jesus talked about living, not dying. About living, to be engaged in life, the action and the act of living. So we have to stop living from the outside in. We have to stop reacting to life, wishing, oftentimes in a way where our wishing is about the unattainable. Wishing is about, most times, something that's unattainable. However, when our living becomes the choice we make, our desires become attainable. It's a choice. Put your whole self in, take your whole self out. Turn it around. It's a choice you have to make. So it's a choice that each one of us we get to make, to discover the life our soul is seeking or not. It's your choice and it's my choice. And so the thing is then is that we all have these stories in our life. the story. Everybody's got one. And so we have the story, and then we have thoughts about the story that we base our choices off of. There's the story, and then there's your thoughts about the story that you base the choices and the decisions that you make in your life. I said early on that we should trust life and not our stories. Not our stories. And so oftentimes in the story, many of us become obsessed with it. We become so obsessed with it then that we begin to have thought after thought after thought after thought after thought about it. And that we find ourselves then, or that it causes us then to react to life. And so where we find ourselves oftentimes saying about our desires in life, when it doesn't happen, when it don't work out the way we want it to work out, we often find ourselves then saying, see, I told you. See, I told you. That's when you are, when you have engaged in the activity of your thoughts and your thinking and you're obsessed about a story, an old story. See, I told you. And so my story, it kind of goes like this, is that I had people in my life who will oftentimes take advantage of me, and no one will speak up or say anything for me. Therefore, nobody loves me. That's my story. And we all have a story. I was listening to another story about this guy who was saying that when he was younger, he was maybe 13 or 14, his parents sent him on a trip. It was out in Lake Erie. He was on a boat with somebody, and they were attempting to go to another place. And so anyway, he got on the ship with this guy, and at around midnight, the water started getting real choppy, and he got real sick. And so he got through the night, but he hadn't really eaten. And so the next day, the Coast Guard comes out and brings them some gas because while all this is happening, the boat runs out of gas. And so the Coast Guard brings gas, and the guy who was running the boat put the gas in the wrong place. So they were stuck outside for another night. So he's still in his dirty clothes with throw up all over himself. And so the next day, the Coast Guard comes back out, gives them some more gas, and they finally make it to where they were going. He gets off of the ship, and the guy says, okay, well, he's going to take you to another place where you can get home, where you can get back to the airport so you can get home. He had a flight to get back home. Well, when he got off of the boat and got in the car, they took him to a hotel. Now, he thought he was going to the airport, but they took him to a hotel. And so finally he called his parents and he said, okay, I'm coming home, I'm at this hotel. And so his parents then started looking for him because they thought he was one place and he ended up being another place. And so in the morning, his mom called him and his mom said, hey, I thought you were here. And he said, no, I'm not there, I'm here, but it's okay, I'm on my way home. So he gets on the airplane and he makes his way home, and his mom and dad is there to meet him when he arrived. And so it was a school day. Now it's Monday or Tuesday, and so when she shows up in the car, she has a change of clothes for him. And some things for him to wash his face and to brush his teeth. And so he said that became his story then. That in life, you'll go through rivers, and the waters won't be so nice. They'll be choppy. And at night, you might run out of gas. And you might throw up all over yourself. And then when you come home, your mom will be waiting there for you, telling you, it's all right. Figure it out. Here's a change of clothes, and some toothpaste, and a toothbrush, and some soap. You going to school. But that became his story, that in life it doesn't matter. Even if I got to throw up on myself, or someone's thrown up on me, I can figure it out. That's a deliberate choice to live. That's a deliberate choice to be happy, you see? It's our stories, the thoughts that we have about our stories, and the choices that we make. The choices of the stories that we then create about the life. You with me? A whole lot going on. Stop it. Our stories, the thoughts we You see, it's not going to wish you well. And so you have to then begin to look at your old ideas, your limited ideas about your story, the blaming and the shaming and the affirm, however, then that nothing or that no one is against me. Making a deliberate choice to be engaged in life. Making a deliberate choice to be happy. And so when we can affirm then that nothing and no one is against me, and not even me, then in that moment we can open up to new ideas, for something new to emerge to us and through us about who we are. Ideas that remind us of the supremeness that we are, supreme being, the divine infinite intelligence that's flowing through us. It's infinite ideas of good and very good. You see, and then no matter what we are doing, no matter where we are then, we take happiness with us. I'm talking about a deliberate choice to live, to be happy and enjoy it, and no matter what the job is, no matter what my prayer is, no matter what my prayer is for, it's so that I can have more of it, more abundant of it, so that I can live more. It's not to make me happy, you see. I'm already happy. It doesn't matter if the job changes, I'm still happy. It doesn't matter if I'm praying for money and I get the money so that I can do more things. It's not so that I can be happy. I'm already happy. I'm praying for a new relationship. It's not so that I can experience love in a different way or that I can bring more happiness into my life. I'm already happy. It's not that if I take a class or enroll into a program where I get a certificate or some identification, then I'm going to be full and complete and happy. No, I'm already happy. It's a deliberate choice. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. It doesn't matter what's happening around you, in front of you, behind you. You make the choice to be happy. Now, so it doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter what you do. I'm talking about stages of life. We're talking about growing and expanding in our thoughts, our ideas, our consciousness, new ideas, new ideas, new ideas, new ideas. Wherever we are, whatever we're doing, it doesn't matter. I'm happy. It's a deliberate choice. You see, life is not a wishing well. It's a hokey pokey dance. You've got to put your whole self in. You take your whole self out. You put your whole self in and you shake it all about. You do your pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Yes, come on, practice. Choosing life, choosing joy, of opening ourselves up to the wonderful, divine, infinite ideas of God, choosing joy and happiness all the days ahead of us. So we affirm then now in this moment that there's only one life, that life is God's life, that it's perfect, that it's my life, and that it's your life now. We allow our awareness and our full recognition to turn to the one power and one presence, the infinite essence, the infinite intelligence, the ageless wisdom that is right here where we are. All the love, all the joy, all the peace, all the beauty, all the creativity, infinite ideas, infinite ideas, infinite ideas, infinite ideas, God's ideas as my life, God's ideas as your life, the whole realm, the whole possibility of the all good right here, right now. And I know that each one of us, that we are one with life, that we are one with all that life is. That when we arise, we make and see it as it is. Life and all there is. And as we become one with it, our awareness turns to it. In that moment, I know that we open ourselves and become available to even more life. That we see in ways we've never seen before. That we hear in ways that we've never heard before. That we sense and know something divine, that something good must be happening in our life. That I know then now that the words that I speak uproots any ideas that this isn't possible. That the words that I speak now removes any negation of the words that have been spoken, the truth and the only truth. So that we move together into an absolute knowing that the supreme power and presence of God is always where we are. That we are one with Spirit, wherever we are and whatever we're doing. I affirm and know then that in this moment that each one of us, that we surrender into it, that we allow life to unfold right where we are. And we affirm that we have all that we need to be present to it. That nothing or no one, not even me, is against me. But the whole universe is for me. And so it is in that space and that place in, I affirm and know that each one of us, we put our whole self into life and to living and the joy and the goodness, drawing it to ourselves as our very life. We take our whole selves out. We see it. We experience it. We see it everywhere. We put our whole selves back into it, becoming even more with it. Where there's always a presence and never an absence. Our life as God's life. And so I give thanks for it. I give thanks for this truth as my life and for knowing it as the very truth of your life. I give thanks for the divine power presence and its healing energy that is around and abound now that's available for our use. I give thanks for its truth that is right before us, right before our eyes, ours to engage in, to indulge in, to call more and more and more and more and more and more and more of life living in us, through us, and as us. Oh, I give thanks for it. And so I am moved then into releasing these words, into letting them go into the law of mind that I know that stands ready and says yes. The law of mind that resides within me that does not turn away from the words but embraces the words, embodies the words, calls forth the words, invite the words in. God's ideas, God's ideas, God's ideas, God's ideas, fully accepted in me now as being so. And as I know then that the demonstration has already been made in me, I know that we are moved into an even greater expectancy of more and more and more and more and more of what we can't even imagine. More and more and more and more of God. More and more and more and more of the all good. Oh yes. So simply then we let these words go, knowing that it is already done. We let them be. And together we end by saying, and so it is. so it is.
And so it is.
So we're at that moment in our services where we'd like to take some time to acknowledge anyone who is visiting us for the first time. If this is your first time here at the Center of Peace, would you please stand so that we can acknowledge you?